Hello and welcome to this recorded presentation about the Goldfields Food Community Project. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we are viewing this video. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and the beautiful ocean and thank them for protecting this country for thousands of generations. I respect all elders past and present. So here we have pictured our food community team, which is led by Dr. Stephanie Godrich, including Professor Amanda Devine, Associate Professor Mel Stoneham, Isabel Kira, Jess Doe, and Emily Humphreys. And together we make up the Food Community Project team. The Food Community Project aims to identify, map, evaluate, and strengthen government and community food security initiatives across the WA regions to support food security action. So we're conducting this work across 6 WA regions, including the Wheatbelt, Midwest, Great Southern, Kimberley, Pilbara and Goldfields. And in this recording, we'll be focusing specifically on the Goldfields Food Community Project findings. So for some geographical context, the Goldfields region spans over 770,000 square kilometres, includes 8 local government areas and has a population of over 52,000 people. And this graph represents the median age range of residents in the Goldfields region, with over half of the population aged between 25 to 65 years, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Throughout 2022 to 2023, the Food Community team conducted interviews with government and community-led food security initiative leaders across the Goldfields region. We conducted interviews with 10 participants, and most of the participants were CEOs, chairs, EOs, presidents, or had a coordinator role or were health professionals. The participants we interviewed represented 19 initiatives across the Goldfields region. Initiatives were categorised as food literacy and health promotion projects, emergency food relief and community programs, policies or strategic plans, farmers markets and food events, community gardens and food swapping groups, and businesses, networks or alliances. The majority of initiatives across this region, so 8 initiatives, were classified as food literacy and health promotion projects, and then 6 were classified as emergency food relief and community programs. And then you can see the remaining participant demographics listed on this slide here. The Food Community team also mapped the interviewed initiatives across the lifespan to showcase where the focus areas of the initiatives are and where there are some opportunities. So as you can see here, majority of the initiatives that we interviewed are focused on school-aged children, youth and adults, and they are less focused on early years and seniors or older adults. The Food Community Project works through this systems change framework. We have 9 different focus areas that are organised into our interview guide that we use to ask questions of the people who are running food initiatives. Focus Area 1 is about shaking things up. It's disrupting the status quo and the current way of working. Focus Area 2 is about joining up and rippling out to bolster a potential new way of working. Focus Area 3 is about creating identity and combining resources, which helps to move the system of initiatives towards a new way of working. Focus Area 4 is about embedding, watching and responding to that new way of working. And Focus Area 5 is about building collective knowledge. So it's about helping people keep informed about the big picture of food security. These first 5 focus areas are about helping communities to shift towards a more effective way of supporting food security. Then Focus Areas 6, 7, 8 and 9 relate to two-way communication between government and community. Focus Areas 6 and 7 are about government exploring food security solutions and innovations that already exist within the community. And Focus Areas 8 and 9 are about governments taking those learnings about community food security solutions back up into government systems to embed them in there. And then each of these focus areas are made up of a number of characteristics, of which there are 36 in total. So now we're going to have a look at some analysis of the characteristics that were most commonly possessed by initiatives across each focus area, and then some example activities that these Goldfields initiatives currently undertake. So our food community team analysed the participants' comments from the interviews thematically to see what the most common themes across each focus area and their characteristics are. So at Focus Area 1, initiatives across the Goldfields region were most likely to possess characteristic 1.5, which is about identifying clear geographical or issue-based boundaries. For example, there was a food initiative in the Goldfields that's based out of the local recreation centre and caters for anyone who can come into their facilities. At Focus Area 2, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 2.5, which is about creating connections with others addressing food security. For example, there were initiatives that were collaborating with surrounding services such as allied health professionals, local churches, and other not for profit organisations for service delivery. At Focus Area 3, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 3.1, which is about creating a shared awareness and understanding of food security through words and images. For example, there was an initiative that was using their organisation's logo and branding across all initiative resources. At Focus Area 4, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 4.1, which is about fitting within local constraints, context, or needs. For example, initiatives often adapted to the increasing need for emergency food relief since the COVID-19 pandemic. At Focus Area 5, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 5.3, which is about connecting people who have different perspectives on food security. This included initiatives facilitating a safe space where people from various backgrounds could come together and discuss their perspectives around food security. Moving on to Focus Area 6, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 6.2, which is about supporting governments to provide accessible information about food security. For example, this included initiatives providing information to the local government to support their public health plan to include key priority areas around healthy eating. At Focus Area 7, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 7.2, which is about assisting elected representatives to consider community views and ideas about food security. For example, some Goldfields initiatives promoted their activities on their Facebook page, which was then shared by local elected members. At Focus Area 8, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 8.2, which is about linking community-led activities and government strategic plans. For example, there was a Goldfields initiative that was funded by a government department which supported them to achieve the goals outlined in their strategic plan. Finally, at Focus Area 9, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 9.2, which is about providing elected representatives with community information about food security that is relevant to their electorate area or portfolio. For example, initiatives would informally provide food security information that they collected through their initiative to local elected members. So after we interviewed people, we uploaded that data into an online tool called the Tool for Systemic Change. And we used this tool to evaluate the initiative's work against those 36 systems change characteristics embedded across the 9 focus areas we discussed earlier. The tool produces a variety of maps, including these region-based transition cards, and this is the Goldfields one here. So this transition card, or our systems change map, visualises how the Goldfields food security system is contributing to 36 systems change characteristics across 9 focus areas. So it shows the initiatives that we interviewed down the left side here, and then each of those columns make up the 9 different focus areas. So the coloured tiles indicate whether the initiative possesses that focus area's characteristic, and each characteristic aligns with a question asked during the interview. So if the tile is coloured, then the initiative possesses the characteristic, and if it's blank, they either responded no to our question or couldn't provide evidence as to how they possess the characteristic. So there's no right or wrong answer, and it's not necessarily a bad thing if they don't possess them. It just offers these windows of opportunities to strengthen different parts or aspects of that initiative through small tweaks or changes. The tool for systemic change also produces a partnership map, also known as a solution ecosystem, which shows all of the different partnerships and collaborations between the 46 organisations that we've identified based on those interviews. to be working on food security within the Goldfields region in 2023. You can also view a larger version of each region's partnership map on our website. And now we're going to have a little bit of a deeper look into the Goldfields partnership analysis. So looking at the network model type, social network analysis can be used to understand network typology and their structures as a whole. So the Goldfields partnership map that I just showed you demonstrates a hub and spoke model, which includes one organisation playing a central connecting role. There were 14 organisations that were classified as hubs in the Goldfields network, which means these organisations connected with more than the average number of partners and were essential to spreading information throughout different parts of the network. Then one state government organisation, one not-for-profit organisation and one local government organisation were critical for information sharing. 31 organisations were classified as connected components, meaning they use their partnerships to receive and share information throughout the network. And finally, one organisation was unconnected, meaning they had no partnerships. Through our analysis, we also identified common themes about the ways in which organisations are working in partnership in the Goldfields region. Key themes included collaboration, coordinated action and capacity building, community consultation and involvement, food and financial donations, funding and grants for program delivery, and on-ground program service delivery. For example, under collaboration, coordinated action and capacity building, partnerships focused on local community issues. For example, there was an initiative with an advisory committee made up of local government representatives and other government organisations to guide initiative implementation. Next, under community consultation and involvement, community members were often described as integral in the design and/or delivery of services through activities such as food donations and volunteering. Then, under food and financial donations, some food relief initiatives received food donations for larger not-for-profits. For example, a local government-led initiative partnered with a larger not-for-profit organisation to redistribute excess food to the community. Moving on to funding and grants for program and service delivery, initiatives often received funding and grants for program delivery. For example, there was an initiative that's funded by multiple organisations to ensure that their event can be free and accessible to the whole community. Finally, on-ground program and service delivery, initiatives would join to support on-ground program delivery. For example, health professionals from different disciplines would partner to co-facilitate nutrition education programs. Based on our Goldfields findings, the Food Community team has developed recommendations to support the current food security system to shift towards a more effective way of working. These recommendations include that the Goldfields Food Security Initiative leaders could strengthen their food security impact by enhancing Focus Area 7 attributes. They could do this by engaging government representatives in program activities or speaking with them about their food initiative to increase their understanding of how it supports food security. They could share community member views about food security with government representatives and support government representatives to talk about food security in a way that community members can understand and use. They could also undertake government advocacy to get food security on their agenda as well as being actioned. Food security initiative leaders could also strengthen their impact by enhancing the Focus Area 9 attributes, by advocating to local, state or federal government about addressing food security and ensuring that their initiative is listed on the Food Community website Connect section. Additional recommendations include food security initiatives should consider the bigger picture of food security when sharing information with their networks and undertaking food security activities, as well as support better collaborations between government and community organisations. We've also developed specific recommendations to strengthen the Goldfields region's partnership networks, including organisations should identify and document clear partnership purposes, roles and actions. If desired, the one unconnected organisation should be supported to connect into their partnership network. This might be achieved through creating a bank of region-based partnership opportunities, such as through the Food Community website, as well as interagency networking groups. Finally, the Goldfields region network should be supported to shift across the network stages. This could be by connecting organisations, increasing collaboration on small food security projects, bringing in new organisations, and implementing ways to share information. This brings us to the end of the Goldfields Food Community Snapshot presentation. We'd like to acknowledge and thank our project partners and funders, which are listed here. Thank you for listening to this presentation. If you have any questions, please email us at foodcommunity@ecu.edu.au. You can also follow us on Facebook to keep up to date with the project and head over to our website and sign up for free to access a variety of resources.